Have you heard what Care Court is in California? It's a whole brand new court system created by Governor Gavin Newsom and California Democrats that they say will help them deal with homelessness. Coming up, I'll tell you why Care Court is destined to fail and that we don't need a Care Court if we just restore real courts. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and Governor Gavin Newsom and California Democrats are touting a bill that they just put into effect, creating a whole brand new court system throughout the state of California. And in fact, 8 counties are going to be pilot tests for something called Care Court. Care Court is going to be used by local public health agencies to deal with homelessness. Newsom says that Care Court is exactly the tool that they need to deal with homelessness in the state of California. Well, I'll tell you why Care Court, because I'm going to walk through how it works or how complicated it is and why it's not likely to work. I'll tell you why this Care Court process is a really bad imitation, a cheap imitation for the real court process that all the other states are using effectively and successfully for getting homeless people the treatment that they need. Now, starting out, let me just say that we're not going to delve too far into homelessness and why people are homeless, but let me give you the Reader's Digest of why people are homeless in California. We also have another podcast that goes into homelessness in great depth and explains all of this with charts and graphs and reports and whatnot. But the summary Reader's Digest is that homelessness is not a housing problem. It's not a jobs problem. It is a mental health and substance abuse problem. The people on the street couldn't afford an apartment of $500, let alone $1,500. Okay. So $500, if you gave them $500 and said, hey, I found an apartment for $500, they would take the $500. It would go up their nose or in their vein for drugs. Or they would simply say, I don't want to go there because there are spirits in that house. They're mentally ill. They literally are psychotic. They're paranoid. And so we have to deal with the root causes of homelessness. 80% of chronic homeless people have mental health and substance abuse issues. The other 20% are what we call upper class homeless. They literally live out of their car, they have a job, they're on and off the street relatively quickly. But the real base problem we have in homelessness is mental health and substance abuse. The Democrat politicians of California have said we shouldn't enforce the law and that we don't have the ability, shouldn't have the ability to enforce mental health or substance abuse treatment, that should be a voluntary choice. Now, mind you, California is the only twisted state that does it that way. We coddle criminals. We enable addiction and mental illness. Other states actually use law enforcement to arrest people for crimes that they commit, and part of the criminal justice response isn't to throw them in jail, it's to get them the help they need, which is treatment for mental illness or substance abuse. So that is the homeless challenge. Now let me explain what Care Court is. Care Court, and in fact, let me bring up this article from the Union Tribune. Typically, they're pretty liberal, and they get the conclusion wrong here. They say, oh, this is a nice tool. I'll walk you through their own article and show why it's not a nice tool, that it's probably good intentions, but implementation-wise, Care Court is, again, screaming into the wind. It's not going to be very effective. It says a new court to treat mentally ill people is being billed as completely voluntary, but is it? Now, what's interesting there is that's the angle they're taking here. Is it voluntary? Because they're liberal. They want everything to be voluntary in life. I'm sorry, but if someone's a drug addict, if someone's mentally ill, and if they're also committing crime, there should be no voluntary about it. You either get your act together or you get the hell out. Or go behind bars. It goes on to say disability rights advocates caution while judicial discretion is baked into the state's newest mental health court, there's absolutely a path to involuntary treatment. Ooh, the shock and horror of involuntary treatment. Well, you know what? When you're not able to care for yourself and you're vomiting on the sidewalk, you're overdosing in the back alley, at some point, society does have a right to say, we need to do something for you. and you have to follow the rules so that we can get you back on your feet. Anyway, it goes on to tell a story about Anita Fisher, who's a social worker working with parents who have children who have mental health problems and substance abuse problems. And let me just tell you, this nightmare is every family has this sort of nightmare. You have a relative, a son, daughter, a sibling, a parent who's mentally ill or engaging in substance abuse, and you want to force them into treatment because they're not voluntarily doing it. But the California authorities tell you, unlike other states, the California authorities tell you that you can't be a conservator, you can't force them to do something because they're adults now, and then they leave your house and they're on the street and you're trying to get them into treatment. But again, the same story. We don't have the right. We don't have the ability. It wouldn't be proper to do that. So care court, in theory, is a way for you as a concerned family member to go after the court to get a mandated treatment. Care court stands for Community Assistance Recovery and Empowerment Act. That's the California law that set this up. So, and then of course, there's Governor Gavin Newsom touting what a great thing this is. Just the reality is, this is nothing but window dressing and smokescreen for him. So, judicial and health programs say the program is voluntary. Participation will be strongly encouraged, but no one will be forced to comply, they say. That's actually true, and I'll explain in a minute why that's true. Because some people say, like Fisher, that she operates under the belief that care court would provide involuntary care, at least at the start of a case, because many don't understand that they're sick. Well, none of these people who are crazy think that they're really crazy. And people who are addicted are not going to voluntarily go into rehab. The power of love couldn't get through to them at home. That's why you need the power of law. She says that that's all they offer in San Diego County is voluntary only services, which is why so many people end up in jail, dead, in prison. She needs to add on the street, homeless. These do-gooders, disability rights advocates, shame on them. I know that they think that they're doing something useful, but they're not. They're sentencing these people to misery. They're just flat out wrong. And I think the reason why they do it is that I think they make money off of this. I think that part of the homeless industrial complex is more people on the street means more tax increases. More tax increases mean developers get housing first subsidies. Check out our other podcast on homelessness on this channel, and you'll see why. But let me go through how the program works. And UT actually did a good job breaking down how it works. But the funny thing is that they own themselves. Because when you go through this thing, you're going to realize care court isn't going to work. So here we are, step by step. The first step, and by the way, there are 14 steps. I know, 14 steps to a process. That should be literally 2 or 3 steps. Step 1, a case is initiated when a person petitions the court to determine another individual's eligibility. So that could be a mom, a dad, a brother, sister. It could be a social worker. It could be a police officer. The statute allows for family members, healthcare, social service providers, or first responders. So you find someone who's crazy or drugged up, and you say, court, I think we ought to put this person through the care process. Second, the court will decide if the petition indicates the individual is eligible. If not, the petition is dismissed. Well, okay. So the court's going to ask you for more information on the person. Like, where are they right now? And what have they done? And what are the problems? By the way, if the person's eligible, that doesn't mean that they're immediately put into treatment. No. We got a lot of steps to get through in order to get close to that. Third, engagement. If the court says, okay, on the face of it, this person may be eligible, the court then orders the Health and Human Services Agency to investigate the person and submit a report to determine whether the person is eligible. Well, hold on a second. I thought step 2 was eligible. No. Government bureaucracies like to do things 5 or 6 times over and over and over again. So now we get a bureaucracy asked to go find the person, talk to the person, review the person, and then determine through a report that they prepare whether the person's eligible. Really? So what you do, you go down to the person in the tent, if you can find them, if you're lucky, or in the riverbed or in the alleyway. Hi, are you crazy? Are you on drugs? Oh, no? Okay, very good. Thank you. Inconclusive. As soon as that person knows that someone's poking around, that they may have to actually make changes, their mental illness will tell them that even more conspiracies are happening, and that person's going to get out of town real quick. So by step 3, I think that we're basically going to find this person disappears. We'll see. If we're lucky, we get to step 4. The behavioral health agency attempts to engage the individual in voluntary services and reports to the court on the outcome of those efforts. So another report is filed with the court. Gee, wonder how long that's going to take. Step 5. Then the court has to decide, yep, the person qualifies for court proceedings. Wait, so we've had to get through a couple petitions at the court. We had to get an initial ruling of eligibility. Then we had to get a caseworker assigned. Then the caseworker had to go find the person. Then the person had to be interviewed. Then they file a report. Then they say, oh, by the way, let me come back and offer you some services. So then, step 5, the court says maybe we should schedule a hearing. Oh, and by the way, we're going to appoint an attorney to represent the person at no cost. Wait, no cost? No cost to whom? Oh, no cost to the homeless person, but at some cost, who's paying for this? That's right, you and me. Taxpayers get to pay for a, $400 an hour attorney? By the way, bet you who those attorneys are going to be? The disability advocacy groups that are opposed to putting people behind treatment centers. You can't make this stuff up. If you follow the money, you find the root of every government policy failure, and we're headed for failure on this one. Step 6, after the initial appearance, if the petition was filed by someone other than the county, like a family member, the original petitioner then is removed and substituted out. The director of the Behavioral Health County Agency is appointed. But during the appearance in court, the individual has the option to select someone to support him or her during the process. What, like a coach? Like a fitness trainer? I mean, wait, we already gave them an attorney. Who's being appointed to support them during the process? Oh, and by the way, you mentioned an initial appearance. What if the person doesn't show up? Gee, the homeless person that we really can't track and keep tabs on didn't show up to court today. I don't know which is going to have a higher percentage. The percentage of people not showing up for ICE deportation hearings or the percentage of homeless crazy people not showing up for care court. I'll let you decide. I think it's pretty much a nose and nose competition there. Photo finish. 7th, if we finally do get a hearing on the merits, the court determines the individual meets, if the court determines the individual meets eligibility criteria, then number 8 comes in. The individual attorney, their supporter, coach, and the agency are told, go and meet and create a care agreement, a care plan. It's an action plan built around services and support. Yay! Pick out your personal pronouns. 9, now we have another hearing, a case management hearing. This is where if you don't negotiate an agreement in step 8, assuming that they showed up in step 7 and 6, and that the attorney was paid for in step 5. See, there's a lot of steps here. I even lost control of the steps here on the screen. Then there's a case management hearing at step 9. You all taking notes on this? Make sure you do. Gavin Newsom's going to give you a quiz because he knows that this is the absolute savior. It's going to save us. It's going to solve everything. Horse shit. That's what this is. We're on YouTube, so I can say that. At the case management hearing, the court then gets to decide whether they order the health agency to conduct a clinical evaluation, unless one's already been done. Wait, hold on a second. Step 9, we're finally getting to clinical evaluations. Are you kidding me? Step 10, the court then reviews the clinical evaluation and other evidence from the behavioral health agency and the individual. Assuming the person is still eligible, I think we should really say, assuming the person is still showing up. Does anyone think at step 10, the guy or gal is still going to show up? Really? Seriously? This is absurd. The fact that Union Tribune was writing all this saying, oh, look how it works. You missed the whole point, you idiots. This is a fantasy court. It's like Alice in Wonderland and the Tea Party, for God's sakes. Assuming the person is still eligible and still showing up and still alive and not overdosed on drugs or committing suicide, the court orders a care plan be implemented. Number 11, at this point, the individual attorney, supporter, or behavioral health agency will be working together to create a care plan. Wait, hold on. I thought we already had a care plan. Let me go back here. Number 8, care agreement. Yep, there was a care agreement here. I don't know about this. But now we have another plan. I wonder if someone's getting paid. A contractor's getting paid at every step. Oh, yeah. Got to make sure we feed all the little piggies at the trough over here, the government contractors. This is insane. Number 12, the individual receives services indicated in his or her plan. Wonderful. We're finally getting into treatment. Step 12, treatment. Step 13, progress is checked. Step 14, after 11 months, it's determined whether the person is ready to graduate or if the person should be reappointed to the program. If you think that this is going to work, you're a government bureaucrat or contractor wanting to make money off of it. Let me just say this. You don't need care court if you have real court. Here's why. In other states, 49 out of the other 50 states, they actually use real court to mandate treatment because most of these people are breaking the law in some way, shape, or form. Guaranteed. Most of these mentally ill substance abusers are breaking the law. And so what you do is you find them on a violation of law. You bring them before a real judge in a real court with real sanction, real penalties. And the judge says, you know what? I'm going to do a diversion program. Ever heard the term diversion program? Yeah, it's what 49 out of the other 50 states use, but not in California. Because you know what? In California, we don't even have real court. That's the real money shot here. That's why we have a homeless crisis. We don't have real court. So here's what my suggestion to the liberal media and Governor Gavin Newsom and all the gaggle of Democrat politicians and all the Republican politicians who are too afraid to talk about this topic. Instead of care court, how about we just go back to good old-fashioned real court? I know, groundbreaking, crazy and innovative. Let's just have real court. And if you have real court back in California, it won't just help us with people who are mentally ill and have substance abuse problems. It will help us also with criminals and all sorts of other issues. Look, at Reform California, we're leading the fight to restore sanity in these issues of homelessness and, of course, the criminal justice system. We have a plan called the People's First Plan, which embeds real court as a solution for homelessness and to get people who have mental health and substance abuse issues the help that they need. Go to cleanupourstreets.org to check it out. Cleanupourstreets.org. Contribute to our effort because we are entirely grassroots funded, and sign up to be a volunteer to receive more information. Plus, help us spread the word about this story by liking and subscribing to this video and sharing it with your friends. That helps us break through the censorship of the liberal media. By liking and subscribing to the video and the channel, you will help us goose the algorithm, and it will spread the word more throughout the state of California, which is what we need to do, is open people's eyes, educate them so that they can vote accordingly. We've got a lot of work to do, but we can only do it with your help. So please join the fight at cleanupourstreets.org, cleanupourstreets.org. Until next time, Carl DeMaio with Reform California. Thanks for watching. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.